Hello, everybody. This is Joseph P. Farrell with news and views from the Nefarium on Thursday, February 1st, 2018. Already, it's February, folks. The year is it's racing by. This is going to be an unusual news and views. Um, I don't have any articles to link. I tried linking an article, but YouTube wouldn't let me link it. So you'll find the article actually on my website. The link is there once I post it on the website. The link itself is actually to uh, the Hal Turner radio show. I don't know anything about that show, but it's such an unusual story, and I've been getting this flood of emails. And what I'm talking about today isn't an article, it's about a time sequence of events, rather strange things, beginning with President Trump's State of the Union address, and then the day after the very unusual train crash, apparently with several members of the Republican congressional delegation. There's a lot in this sequence that bothers me that I'm very suspicious about. But let's begin with something that was brought to my attention by a couple of members of the website and people who actually watched the president's State of the Union address. I did not. I was not feeling well that day at all, so I went to sleep, but I did not watch it. I've watched snippets of it in videos, but both of these people sent me a video where the president apparently stated that he was calling for an increase in and renewed development of America's nuclear arsenal to defend America against other nations, and then he added the phrase "and anyone else" or something like this. And I heard this on the videos that they sent. I've been frantically looking to try and find these videos. I cannot find that one. I'm curious if anybody else heard that remark in his speech, if you were watching it, and if you can possibly send me the link. Because here's the strange thing. After I watched the first video that someone sent me, and stupidly I accidentally deleted it, after I did this, I went to the White House website and pulled up the transcript of the president's speech, and I could not find that phrase. So apparently, one individual said that she thought that he had ad-libbed the remark. That may be. I found it rather strange because obviously what it's suggesting is that there are other possible non-state actors out there with their hands on nuclear weapons. So I thought either it's an ad lib, it may have been a slip of the tongue, it may not have anything else behind it. But other than that, if you take it at face value, then it's a rather astonishing thing to have said during a State of the Union address. So I'm wondering if anybody else out there has heard this very strange remark. And if so, if you can find any video links to it with the exact date and timestamp, I would be very, very interested. I was looking for it today, and I simply could not find it. Now, it's that remark that sets off this, to my mind, this very weird chain of events. We heard about the crash of the train. By now, everybody's heard about the crash of the train. And what got me looking at it, and again, this I'm not saying that I agree with these quote unquote conspiracy theories, and I'm not saying I disagree, but I was rather intrigued to hear on the radio the president himself being questioned about this crash, and apparently others in government, other government officials, have also stated that, well, yeah, there were lights and warning bells and so on and so forth at the site of this crash, where a garbage truck driver apparently pulled out in front of this specially chartered passenger train that was running certain members of the congressional Republican delegation up to West Virginia, and the point at which they were to proceed in West Virginia was the well-known Greenbrier Resort at so-called Mount Weather, that big hotel that is in fact a continuity of government center. So now the speculations are abounding that, how does a garbage truck driver pull out in front of a passenger train? It may be that I've seen certain pictures of this intersection which suggest it might have been difficult to see the train, but again, we're told that this was a train that, or an intersection that did have warning bells, alarms, and a gate closure automated system. So who knows? Here's the problem. My question is, why would anyone do this? Well, in the article that I'm linking on the site, again, please understand, YouTube would not allow me to link this article, even though this website asks people to link it. And this is another strange thing. I have only been able to track this down very briefly today. Uh, this article also at the very end posts a picture of a tweet by David M. Rothschild, of the, and again, I'm reading from this website, of the famous or notorious Rothschild family, the wealthiest family on earth by many accounts, made an ominous tweet before President Trump's State of the Union speech last night. The tweet said, and then they have a picture of the tweet, "Ha ha 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 ha, no one is going to remember this speech in the morning." Here's the original tweet from Twitter. Did Rothschild know that Congress was going to have an accident? And then was the train crash a hit against Congress? Um, this this is a strange story. None of this I have been able to track down. This is the problem. It's being put out there so quickly that it bothers me. And I'm wondering if any of you in the audience have had these questions, have seen stories from relatively reliable sources. If you heard those remarks of President Trump, if you can find links, I'm getting so many people inundating me with these things right now that I can't track down all of them. And I'm wondering if any of you out there have been able to do so and find out if indeed these things are true. The timing of it does suggest that if this was some sort of attempt on the Congress, it failed miserably. And my problem with even with believing that story, I'll be perfectly honest, folks, is that a garbage truck is not. I'm sorry, I just don't think it's going to be sufficiently massive enough to cause any potential derailment of a passenger train booking down the trails at 70 miles an hour. I'm sorry, I just don't. If you're going to try a stunt like that, try something a little bit more muscular to derail a locomotive. Nonetheless, there's people out there, that's my skepticism with it, but there are people out there maintaining that this might have happened and that this might have been the plot. So I need to know if anybody knows for certain if indeed Congress was on the way to Mount Weather. Uh, at least the Republican delegation or certain members of it. This whole thing, this whole sequence of events is very, very strange. And to me, the strangeness really begins, and this is the point I'm trying to make here, folks, really begins with the president's remarks about building up the American nuclear arsenal so that the United States can defend itself from other nations and anyone else. This is this is the disturbing part of his statement. Anyone else that has nuclear weapons. Well, who's the anyone else? Corporations, extraterritorial actors, Muslim terrorist groups. Who are we talking about here? It's that anyone else that really concerns me in the context of congressional train crashes and so on and so forth. The timing of all of this, in other words, folks, bothers me immensely. And the fact that I cannot track down, I spent a little time this afternoon on the New York Times website, CNN, and so on, trying to track down this remark as quickly as I was having to read these articles. I may have missed it, but as quickly as I was having to read them, I couldn't find it. And yet, two people sent me videos where they pointed the timestamp of that particular remark in the president's speech. Um, and it was there in both videos that I saw. And I'm wondering if anyone else has seen these things. And number two, if that remark has been scrubbed from the videos and either scrubbed from the transcript and what have you. So lots going on, folks. I don't know what to make of this whole thing yet. Um, it's as mystifying, quite frankly, this train crash as the Las Vegas shooting. Um, every indication is that this was not an accident, and yet at the same time, why are you doing this? Because in my thinking, a garbage truck isn't going to be sufficient to derail a train, uh, and perhaps create havoc and death with a segment of the Republican congressional delegation. I'm not saying it couldn't derail the train. It's merely that if that's your objective, choose something more substantial and perhaps a different way to do it. But who knows? I've even seen some people suggesting that the driver didn't intentionally drive the truck in front of the train, that his truck was taken over remotely. That also is already out there. It's the sequence of events here, folks, that I find very, very strange. The president's remarks, and then a congressional delegation, apparently, allegedly, going to a continuity of government site when this train accident happens. In the counter coup, deep state mafia wars meme that we've been watching, I think it's very difficult to dismiss these sequences of events as being unrelated to those possible background stories. So, anyway, I wanted to bring this to your attention. Please remember, check the website for the link to this article. Again, it's the Hal Turner radio show. It's under the heading U.S. National News. And then the subtitle of the article is Continuity of Government Bunker Located at Resort where members of Congress traveled yesterday before the train they were on collided with a truck. And that's the article that does have the alleged David Rothschild link. So who knows what's going on here? I suspect there is something going on, but exactly what, I don't know. That's it. By the way, an announcement about tomorrow. Last week I announced that we were having a vid chat tomorrow. I've had to move that vid chat to next week as I originally wanted to schedule it because I've had kind of a social commitment come up tomorrow. So there is no vid chat tomorrow. There will be a vid chat next Friday. And then the week following, of course, there will not be a vid chat. So it's next Friday rather than tomorrow. Please, if you know any more about these stories, folks, email me at the website. Don't post here on YouTube, and please don't post on Facebook. I will not see them if you post them there. I will only see them if you have more information to share on my website. Use the contact button there. I'm very, very interested if anyone else heard the president's remarks and has a video link to that, and if in fact those remarks were scrubbed from the transcript or inserted, if there is a version of the transcript with those remarks in it. Anyway, that's it for news and views this week, folks. Very, very strange week this week. I'll see everybody on the flip side, and God bless.